Before Jonathan was born, life was pretty typical suburban life. I would wake up in the morning, take James to daycare, teach all day, pick him up, come home, have supper, have some family time, get ready for the next day, and then repeat. And then we went to the 20-week ultrasound.
We decided to find out gender, and so we found out it was a boy. And I actually left to go pick up our older son, James. When I got home with him, Sarah comes home from the ultrasound just bawling. I'm like, what happened? When I left, everything was fine. And then she, of course, broke the news.
And my first question was, will he survive? And the doctor said, I don't know. They put him on ECMO, which is a machine that acts as his heart. So he was already on life support for his lungs and then also for his heart. Somewhere in there was a lack of oxygen to his brain, and so he had a brain injury during that first surgery. His second open heart surgery when he was 4 months old didn't go well either. He wasn't expected to make it through the surgery, much less through the night. And he made it, but between both of those really rough situations, he paid the price with his mobility. I guess I had assumed that when I brought Jonathan home from the hospital that it would be just like bringing James home, and we would just come home and enjoy life and sit back and relax and have snuggles with my two sweet little boys. And I didn't realize that Jonathan was still really sick. He came home with a list of medications. All hours of the night we were giving him medicine. He had to be fed exactly every 3 hours. I was getting caught up in reading different literature about heart defects and learning more about Jonathan's condition. And as I did that, I ran across articles about pulse ox screenings. And I read how this monitor that my son wears all the time can be used to detect heart defects. I learned that Iowa was one of the states that was not currently testing children, and so I thought, we could do something about that. This is such a simple test. It's kind of a no-brainer that this would be good for babies. I thought, who could I call? I'm sitting here. Who can I call? And the American Heart Association popped into my mind. In November, the Des Moines Register ran an article about the importance of pulse ox screenings and interviewed me and took pictures of Jonathan. The article ran on November 30th, which is the Heart Defect Screening Awareness Day, and we were able to really get this story out. It was really empowering to get to talk to legislators at the legislative breakfast that the American Heart Association sponsored. I wasn't nervous, I wasn't scared, I just really wanted them to see this as an important issue and one that they needed to take action on. One of my favorite pictures of Jonathan was taken the day that he came to the State House. He was full of smiles and he posed for a great picture with the governor, so I'll always remember that day. We were able to take his story and use it for good, to ensure that other kids may not have to go through some of the same things that he had to. So Jonathan had good days and bad days, and unfortunately the bad days probably outnumbered the good days. Bad days were when he would have trouble breathing, and so I really think just every ounce of energy he had went into breathing.
So yeah, good days, although they were, didn't happen often, they were just wonderful when they did happen, and we tried to kind of savor those moments because we knew they didn't come all that often.
When Jonathan had a good day, it was full of smiles. The kid was happy. I think of all the not good stuff he had to go through and how much I would complain if it was me, and yet he was joy-filled. A good day for Jonathan was playing with his toys, roughhousing with his brother.
James, he would just go up and grab onto his feet and shake your tail back and forth, and he'd whip his feet around, and we'd think, whoa, stop doing that. No, you're gonna hurt him. Never once did James ever hurt Jonathan. What he did was he made him just the happiest kid in the world.
James and Jonathan had such a neat connection. Jonathan wasn't very tolerant of loud noises or sudden movements, especially when he had first come home from the hospital. But he was okay if it came from his brother. And so it was really neat to see how their relationship developed. James just took it as it came. Oh, my brother has a wheelchair. Okay. Yeah, my brother's at the hospital tonight. I hope he gets better soon. You know, he would just go along with it. And I'm thankful that he had a disposition that just made it all okay. It was a Wednesday, and Jonathan had music therapy in the morning, which he loved. He was having a rough day, one of his bad days, his asthma attack days, which was slowly becoming the new normal. So he takes his nap, wakes up from his nap with a cough, and I give him the inhaler like I usually do when he has this real dry, tight cough, and he doesn't respond to it the way he typically would. And so we wait a little while to see if the medicine will work, and we give it to him again, and he wasn't responding to it. And then his coloring changed, so we put the pulse ox monitor on, and it was low. So before I'd called the doctor, even before we could have the doctor have time to call us back, we went to the ER with them, and they determined that he wasn't getting any oxygen.
His lung wasn't moving.
There we go.
So, you know, when he took a breath, his right side would inflate and deflate, but his left lung, there was no movement in it.
They were able to stabilize him on the ventilator, which at that point I was thinking, wow, what kind of hospital stay is this going to be? Will he get to come home, or will he have to stay in a facility? What kind of machines will we come home with?
Yeah, we immediately jumped to, boy, if you're down a lung, so you're working on half of your lung capacity with half of a heart, what does that look like long term? What
does the quality of life look like?
Yeah, around 2 o'clock in the morning, I've been up until then, and really, again, it felt like a normal old hospital stay. You know, the doctor came in, and, you know, and so she came in and she said, well, you know, his left lung doesn't appear to be working very well. We'll have the pulmonologist look at it in the morning. There's probably some blockage. You know, we'll have to take care of it. So I go to sleep at 2. At 3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden, I wake up, and the nurse is on the top of the crib giving CPR. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Of course, when CPR is happening, all of a sudden there's just a flood of doctors and nurses in the room. It's just going crazy. So I quickly kind of stepped out of the room to call Sarah to warn her that, hey, you know, they're doing CPR, things are not looking good. I mean, his heart rate would go up with CPR, and then the second they'd stop, it slowly declined back to his pacemaker minimum of 70 beats per minute.
Life with Jonathan, it was unpredictable. It was an adventure, not always a good adventure, but it was an adventure. And it gave us a perspective that we hadn't had before. You know, he made us thankful for every single moment. And even the bad days, there was something that we could find to be thankful for. And so I don't want to forget that. I want to continue living life the way he taught us.
Yeah, what I would tell a parent that is going to be embarking on a journey like this, I think I'd probably tell him the line that my son had said. And actually, he didn't say it until after Jonathan passed. He said, oh, don't worry, Mommy. Life will still be good. It'll just be different. And I think that's a line that will forever resonate with me. That just because something's thrown your way doesn't mean life ends. It's just different.